Final Fantasy XIV Savage Fights are some of the most intense and intimidating things in this game. Today, I want to talk to the players who are scared or intimidating by doing some Savage Fights because I used to be exactly like you guys. I was scared of always dying and someone being like, alright cool, your DPS isn't enough so you have to leave, or the fear of getting frustrated by dying to the same things over and over. And of course, these kinds of things aren't just going to show up overnight, but with the proper guidance, practice, and understanding how this works, you'll be able to raid in no time. Now, one of the key things is making sure that you have a committed team that's willing to help you out. It's always good to have a group of people who are accepting to learn rather than get upset over silly things. This also prevents people from leaving and joining your group so often. Learning together as a team can help you build progress and understand where your mistakes are. Now, you shouldn't take Savage so lightly, as yes, it is still difficult. You cannot take any of the mechanics for a grain of salt because they will result in your whole entire team wiping. But making sure that taking your time and following instructions will definitely lead you to success. Secondly, back to what I was saying about following instructions. This is going to be one of the most crucial and important parts of doing Savage Fights. It may seem like there are a lot of things going on the screen at the moment, and it can be very confusing on maybe to figure out where your spot should be or where you should be maintaining your DPS. One of the things that you can do to limit the amount of animations that are being displayed on the screen is to fix this in your general settings menu. This can help you isolate your attacks and not be blinded by so many attacks at the same time. Definitely, being able to see the mechanics will help you move forward and make mechanics easier to dodge and to look for. Something that I see a lot of players also not doing is angling your camera in certain ways for you to sort of foresight to see what mechanic or attack might be coming up next. Next, understanding your mistakes and how to fix them. I've seen a lot of new people doing Savage Fight and getting very frustrated and constantly dying to the same mechanics or the same debuff. The answer to this is extremely simple. Once you understand what you are dying to, and you can figure out how to avoid it. For example, when everybody is stacked in one area and you are not stacked in that one area, you will receive a vulnerability down debuff. That means when the rest of the party is stacked in that one area, in order to avoid getting that vulnerability, you need to stack with the rest of the group. Another good example of this is when I first started doing ONS, and I just couldn't understand why I kept forgetting that the remorse would push me off the train at random times. I understand where we needed to go, but I just didn't get when he was going to show up. So every time that I knew he was going to push us off, I kind of started to analyze, alright, there is a cast bar for this, and his name shows up along with the rest of the enemy list. As I started to understand that, I knew that I had knockback immunity skills, so I started to use those into play. Okay, this may seem that may be stupid easy, but after understanding your mistakes and you have a bit of knowledge of what you're fighting up against, at times it can be extremely tricky, but with the knowledge of the mechanics and the help of your crossroad skills, they can help bridge that gap. Before getting into raiding, I heard that XIV virus was one of the hardest mechanics in the game, but once I got there, I panicked and I had no idea what to do. After finally understanding how virus worked, it was a piece of cake because I had the knowledge of why I was dying, figured out how to keep myself alive and what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing. If you are a rich DPS, you do have a bit of advantage because you can always pre-position yourself for mechanics and such and such. Now, going back to your team, this has a lot to do with cooperating and understanding how you guys can benefit from each other. A lot of people get distracted in the idea that you're going to clear your very first try. Yes, this is very possible, but also very unlikely. When raiding, you also have to be in a positive mindset. If you're going to be sad or discouraging about it, that's going to affect the rest of your team and how you guys perform. Even if you're raiding all day and all night, giving yourself a break, clearing your mind, and giving yourself a better mindset on how to approach it in another way, or maybe at a different time, can also be the key to clearing. You also have to understand that your teammates are not your only research. We have tons and tons of guides that are out there, and especially Reddit, to help you out if you're not understanding something. Don't be shy to reach out to a YouTuber or even another player on Insight on what you should be doing next. Sharing a positive mindset with the rest of your team can also help you benefit as a whole. Even if you notice that someone's dying to the same mistake or the same mechanics over and over, remind them like, hey, it's okay, we're here to learn and we're here to do this together. But you also need to keep in mind that if you keep doing the same mistakes, this will lead yourself in a circle and you will not progress. This idea that I came up with when we were first starting to write is to try to play as conservative as you possibly can. You can still focus on DPS, but you need to have the mindset that you need to stay alive at all means necessary. Being calm and having a positive mindset that I mentioned earlier will have you not panic in some of the most dangerous situations. I've done this plenty of times, and I'm not sure of a mechanic I probably will go off in panic, which usually results in my death. But staying calm, I usually feel like I know what I'm doing and I can overcome this obstacle that's in front of me. Now that you've raided once or twice, you may get that one person in your group that's mentioning that your DP is too low and that you're holding back the group. This is a very controversial topic in the raiding community in Final Fantasy XIV, and having a toxic mindset can lead to downfall for the whole entire group. And what I mean by having a toxic mindset is being negative or saying that you're better than another player, or trying to start arguments along your fellow teammates. It can be known as super discouraging. A lot of people use a parser in order to measure damage to kind of see if the player is even worth being in a party. Some players may use different tools such as FF logs in order to see how much damage you've done in current Savage fights or in other fights in general. And my answer to this is quite simple. If you're doing the very best that you can on your rotation and your teammate cannot accept the fact that you're doing the best that you can, maybe that group isn't best for you. Or if someone's trying to provide you feedback, try using whatever they're trying to provide you, because either that can benefit you or benefit your whole team. Most importantly, never ever forget that practice will make perfect. There have been plenty of times where I've sat at my computer chair and done my rotation on a striking dummy for around 45 minutes straight just to understand my rotation. Stone Sky Sea is the perfect place in order to test your DPS, and I know that it doesn't have a lot of the certain mechanics and certain buffs that you may get from other players or ads that in the actual fight, but at least you have a better understanding of your damage. Lastly, do not let other players discourage you, and do not let yourself discourage you. Like I said, having a positive mindset and a positive mentality will lead you to clearing, but if you have a negative mindset, doubting yourself throughout the fight, wanting to give up and getting mad at another teammate and expressing your anger out on them will not help you. Alright, if you guys happen to like this video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.